Just after clocking out from work, I ran into an old college classmate at the subway station. It had been years, but his first question hit like a memory I wasn't ready to revisit. When are you going to forgive Katarina? Katarina, my childhood sweetheart. 5 years ago, we were supposed to be planning our future together. Instead, on the night before we were meant to collect our marriage certificate, she stood up at our engagement party and shattered everything. In front of everyone, she said she refused to be a stand-in for some so-called crush of mine, wished me a happy life with her instead, then walked out arm in arm with another man. I tried to explain, but what's the point of words when your heart's already been broken in public? So I left City A, hoping distance would make the pain fade. Now, standing on that platform, Domi told me she still talked about me. Said Katarina was waiting, that if I just admitted I was wrong, she'd take me back. Rekindle the romance, he said. I almost laughed. My child is 3 years old now. What romance is there left to rekindle? When I said that, Domi froze, eyes wide like I just told him the world was ending. You're married? You have a kid? I nodded, tired of explaining myself. He couldn't believe it. To him, I was still the boy who once gave up a top university for love. The one who would have moved heaven and earth for Katarina Lynn. But that version of me doesn't exist anymore. He kept pushing, asking questions. What's my wife like? Is she beautiful? Does she have money? Is she better than Katarina? The arrogance in his tone almost made me laugh again. I tried to walk away, but he wouldn't let go. Leonardo, she's been through so much, he said. She took over the Lynn Corporation, tripled its market value, turned into a legend. She stayed single, waiting for you. The way he described her, all success, all sacrifice, sounded like a fairy tale. But for me, it was just noise. I remembered that last call from her father before I left City A, the way he told me so gently that I wasn't enough. Not decisive enough, not powerful enough, not the kind of man who could help her career. That call told me everything I needed to know. Love, in their world, was just another business transaction. So I hung up, blocked their numbers, and walked away. Now, years later, Domi still thought I was the same man, waiting for her, lost in heartbreak. But I wasn't. I had a new life, a new home, a family that was mine alone. Katarina Lynn? She was just a scribbled-out line in the story of my past, a name I'd long since turned the page on. The train slowed to a stop, doors sliding open with a sigh. I stepped out and walked toward the little kindergarten near my home. Through the fence, I spotted my daughter, tiny, laughing, hair catching the sunlight as she came down the slide. Her giggles filled the air, soft and pure. Then I saw Fiona. Graceful as always, she walked over, lifted our daughter into her arms, and the moment her eyes met mine, her whole face lit up. I hurried over, took the little one into my arms, and felt that familiar warmth spread through me. Wifey, how come you're home so early today? I asked. She slipped her fingers into mine, smiling like sunshine. I missed you both, so I came back early. I couldn't help but grin, pinching my daughter's chubby cheeks. She snuggled close, murmuring, "Daddy," in that soft, milky voice only toddlers have. That one word, Daddy, was enough to melt every trace of cold left in me. Regret? What would I possibly regret? Katarina and I had been inseparable since we were kids, next-door neighbors, childhood sweethearts. She was 2 years older, always fierce, always protective. If anyone dared to mess with me, she'd show up like a storm. People used to joke that I was Katarina Lynn's most precious treasure. Untouchable. And I believed it too. I thought we'd grow up, get married, and spend our lives together. From school uniforms to wedding vows. But then Julian appeared. He was her senior in graduate school, polished, charming, and too perfect in all the ways I wasn't. At first, I didn't mind. Katarina had always been surrounded by successful men, but she'd only ever had eyes for me. I trusted her. I trusted us. The first time that trust cracked was at a friend's gathering. We were playing Truth or Dare. Julian lost and picked Dare. The challenge? Reveal a secret about someone in the room. He scanned the crowd before landing on me, pretending to look apologetic. Sorry, Leonardo, he said, half smiling. I accidentally saw your phone wallpaper once. It was a picture of you with a girl. She was beautiful. No idea who she was. In an instant, everyone's eyes turned to me and then to Katarina. I saw her smile falter. She's my cousin, I said quickly. She passed away 2 years ago. That photo was all I had left of her. Julian's expression shifted into guilt. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." The others jumped in to ease the tension, and the night went on. But later, at home, Katarina asked quietly, "Your cousin? Why have I never heard about her?" "She'd been sick for years," I told her, handing over my phone. "Lived abroad for treatment." "You never met her?" "In the picture, the girl looked fragile but peaceful." I stood beside her, smiling through the sadness. Katarina studied the photo for a long time. "You do look alike," she said softly. On the surface, she believed me, but I could feel it. A seed of doubt had already taken root. After that, Julian never stopped showing up. Every conversation, every comment from him carried something sharp beneath the surface. "Katarina, Leonardo's such a great guy. So many friends, so many girls around him." "Katarina, I saw Leonardo at the movies yesterday. He's really popular." "Katarina, he's about to graduate, right? I wonder if he can handle a stable job. He seems a little too easygoing." He never accused me of anything outright, but every word was bait, twisting her perception piece by piece, and eventually she took it. Our first real fight happened at an academic banquet she'd insisted I attend. I ran into a senior from my internship there, a mentor, a married woman, and we chatted for a few minutes. When I turned back, Katarina's face was cold. She stormed off. I followed her into the parking lot. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She shot back. "You were laughing so happily with her. Did it even cross your mind how that looked?" "She's my mentor, Katarina. We were talking about work." "Oh, so work makes you smile like that?" Her voice trembled with anger. I tried to calm her down, to tell her my heart had never wandered, but she wasn't hearing it. "Do you think I'm being controlling now?" She shouted. "That I'm a jealous woman who can't compare to your dead cousin? So gentle, so perfect?" Her words cut through me like a blade. "She was my cousin," I said, my voice breaking. "What are you even saying?" We both stood there, trembling, me in disbelief, her in rage. Then she turned and walked away, leaving me in the cold night air. That fight, it didn't just end with silence. It began something darker. A week passed. I called her again and again, 10 times, maybe more. No answer, no response. Then finally, she blocked me. We'd argued before, sure, but she always came back after a few days. Not this time. The engagement banquet was only days away. I told myself she'd cool down, that she'd still show up. But the night before, I got a message from Julian. A single photo. Katarina, drunk and asleep, her head resting on his shoulder, and Julian's lips curved into a quiet, satisfied smile. Under the photo, there was just one line. "Katarina is under a lot of pressure. You should be more considerate of her." I stared at it for a long time, uneasy, restless. Still, I tried to convince myself it was nothing. She'd only had too much to drink, and Julian was just being helpful. It was my fault for not being by her side. The day of our engagement banquet arrived, and I poured everything into making it perfect. I dressed carefully, handled the arrangements myself, and even prepared a few surprises, the kind of gestures I thought would make her smile again. When I found her in the bridal room, my breath caught. She was stunning. The gown she wore matched mine perfectly, her beauty almost unreal. But when her eyes met mine, she looked away, cold and distant. "Katarina," I said softly, stepping forward to take her hand. "Let's not argue anymore, okay?" She flinched, like my touch burned her, and yanked her hand back so hard I stumbled. For a second, I just stood there, confused. Guests were already arriving. The host was waiting on stage. We had to smile, pretend, so I did. I forced a calm expression and walked out beside her. The lights hit us like a spotlight in a theater. 2 main characters in a play that had already lost its script. But she didn't even try to act. Her face stayed cold, her gaze distant. When the host announced it was time to exchange rings, she suddenly pulled her hand away again. And then, in front of everyone, she said it. "Being my stand-in was fun for you, huh?" The room fell silent, then burst into whispers. My mind went blank. I couldn't even process what she'd said. "Katarina? What are you talking about?" "What I'm talking about?" She sneered. "Don't you know?" She reached into her bag and pulled out a letter. Pink stationery, scented with the same perfume she always wore. "This," she said, her voice shaking with fury, "is the love letter you wrote to your crush." Julian found it, she claimed. And then she read it, line by line, every word twisting into a blade. "It's not mine," I said, desperate. "I didn't write that." She laughed. a sharp, broken sound that made my heart crack. Not yours? The handwriting can lie, maybe, but the perfume on this paper? It's the same one you wear. I stood there frozen, watching as her anger turned to tears, the kind that weren't born from pain but from betrayal she'd convinced herself was real. I looked out over the crowd, my parents' shocked faces, her family's outrage, the guests' stares of pity and disgust. I felt stripped bare. Then she crumpled the letter, threw it at my face, and pulled off her ring. "Wish you and your true love a lifetime of happiness," she said, each word slow, deliberate, cutting deep. And then she walked away, hand in hand with Julian, who tried to look sympathetic but couldn't hide the smirk tugging at his lips. In that moment, everything fell apart. The engagement banquet became the biggest scandal in City A. I was labeled the villain, the man who cheated on his fiancée, the opportunist who used the Lin family for fame and fortune. Rumors spread like wildfire, and the Lin family did nothing to stop them. I didn't fight back. I didn't explain. Because what's the point of explaining to someone who's already decided you're guilty? So I disappeared. Deleted everything, her number, my accounts, my past. Then I bought a one-way ticket and left City A behind. The city I'd called home for 20 years, the city where I loved, bled, and lost everything, became nothing more than a memory. Years later, when Domi told her I was married, I guess that news broke her illusion. My phone started lighting up again. Unknown numbers, calls from City A, messages that wouldn't stop. I ignored them all, blocked them all. But one evening, as I stepped out of my office, someone stepped into my path. Katarina. 5 years had passed, but I recognized her instantly. The youthful glow was gone, replaced by elegance and a kind of hard beauty that came from pain. But her eyes, they burned. "Why didn't you answer my calls?" she demanded, her voice rough, desperate. I said nothing and tried to step past her. She grabbed my arm, nails digging deep into my skin. "Leonardo, I'm talking to you!" Her voice cracked, raw and trembling. "We're not connected anymore," I said quietly. "Please, let go!" That calmness, like that distance gone, drove her mad. "Not connected? You disappear for 5 years, show up married with a child, and just tell me we're not connected? What do you take me for?" Her words should have hurt. But all I felt was emptiness. "You'd rather marry some ordinary woman than come back and explain yourself to me?" She cried, eyes bloodshot, wild with pain. "Leonardo, did you ever even love me? Love her? After she humiliated me in front of hundreds, after she believed a stranger over me, after she let me be torn apart by rumors, she asked if I ever loved her." Looking at her now, shaking and broken, I realized how cruel fate could be. Back then, the one who stood on that stage, humiliated and alone, that was the person who should have been asking the question. "Katarina, did you ever love me?" Because if she did, she would have believed me. I met her eyes one last time. "Miss Lin," I said quietly, coldly. "Please, let go." The moment the word "miss" left my mouth, she froze, the formality hitting harder than any curse. Her hand slipped from my arm, and for the first time, she looked small. "Miss Lin," she whispered, the name hitting her like a slap. For a second, she just stood there, frozen. Then her face twisted in disbelief. "What did you just call me, Leonardo?" "Say it again." Her hand clamped tighter around my wrist, trembling with fury. "You owe me an explanation." "There's nothing left to explain." My voice was calm, cold, and the kind that ends a story. I tried to pull away, but her grip only tightened. Then, a small voice broke through the tension. "Daddy!" I turned, and there she was, my daughter, running toward me like a burst of sunlight after a storm. Her tiny hands held up a crayon drawing, 3 stick figures, holding hands under a big yellow sun. "Daddy, look! This is you, Mommy, and me." In that moment, everything else faded. I tore my arm free and knelt, catching her in my arms. "Tom, why did you come out?" I asked, brushing her damp hair aside. "Mommy said you finished work, so she told me to pick you up." When I looked up, Fiona was standing by the doorway, watching us with a soft smile. Her eyes met mine, warm, steady, real. And beside me, Katarina froze. It was as if lightning had struck. Her face drained of color, her lips quivered. She couldn't even form words. She just stared at my daughter in disbelief. Fiona walked up calmly, kissed my cheek, and pinched our daughter's chubby face before turning to Katarina. "This lady, do you have some business here?" Her tone was polite, but firm. Katarina's eyes darted between us, from my child to Fiona, then finally to me. Shock, pain, confusion, all tangled together. You even have a child, she whispered, voice trembling with despair. I didn't feel satisfaction or revenge, just a deep, hollow calm. Yes, I said quietly. I have a child. And when the world turned its back on me, when I had nothing left, Fiona found me. She gave me a reason to believe again, in love, in trust, in home. Katarina stepped forward suddenly, desperation flaring in her eyes. Leonardo, tell me this isn't true. Before she could reach me, Fiona moved, silent but unyielding, standing between us like a shield. Miss Lynn, please don't disturb my husband and my child. My husband, my child. Those words landed like a blade. I saw the last spark in Katarina's eyes die out. Leonardo, just 5 minutes, she begged, voice breaking. Please let me explain. But the part of me that might have cared had vanished long ago. No need, Miss Lynn, there's nothing left to say. I slipped my arm around Fiona's waist. Wifey, let's go home. Tom must be hungry. Fiona smiled softly. All right. Our daughter clung to my shoulder as we walked away, the three of us, one family. Behind me, I could feel Katarina's stare burning into my back, heavy and desperate. So I spoke, low but deliberate, loud enough for her to hear. Sweetheart, should we have sweet and sour ribs tonight? Tom loves them. Perfect, Fiona said gently. I bought fresh ribs this afternoon. Tom giggled in my arms. Mommy, you're the best. Our laughter, warm, simple, alive, cut through the night like shards of glass. Behind us came a faint, broken sound. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. The proud Lynn heiress, once untouchable, was now on her knees under the streetlight, crumbling. She finally understood. I had moved on. And she, with all her pride, jealousy, and regret, had become nothing but a memory. But she didn't stop there. That night, under a curtain of rain, she came again. I saw her standing outside my building, soaked through, mascara running, eyes wild. Leonardo, do you have to treat me like this? She screamed through the downpour. I haven't forgotten you for a single day. You married someone else. How could you be so heartless? Her voice cracked, mixing with the sound of rain. Her makeup had melted away. She looked lost, desperate, almost unrecognizable. If someone else had seen her then, they might have felt pity. But I didn't. All I felt was disgust. She shouted again, shaking. That letter, do you dare say you didn't write it? That woman, Yika, do you dare say you don't know her? Why didn't you explain, Leonardo? Even one word and I would have believed you. Her words sliced through the rain like knives. And finally, it's something in me snapped. Explain? I laughed bitterly. Did I ever even get a chance to explain to you, Katarina? My voice cracked through the rain. The water soaked my hair, my clothes, but I didn't care. I looked her in the eyes, those same eyes that once felt like home, and told her the truth, one word at a time. I never wrote that letter. I'd never even heard its contents. And that woman you mentioned? I paused. She was my cousin. The rain seemed to still for a moment. She was born with a heart condition, I continued quietly. At 20, she lost her battle with cancer. I went back home for her funeral, left my phone behind. And while I was gone, you called again and again, accusing me of cheating, of lying. Katarina's face drained of color. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. After your little performance at the engagement banquet, I went on. I collapsed. Ended up in the hospital for half a month. The first thing I did when I got out was try to reach you, but you'd already blocked me. My voice hardened. So I went to your company to see you in person. And do you know what I saw? You and Julian walking out together. He had his arm around your waist. And you didn't push him away? Her eyes widened, shimmering with disbelief. Did you ever give me a chance to explain? I asked. You believed a stranger's story over 20 years of love. Tell me, Katarina, what did I ever mean to you? My words hit her like thunder. She stumbled backward, lost her footing, and fell into the puddles, her dress soaking through. No, that can't be, she whispered, clutching her chest. My cousin. She's dead. Her body shook as she pieced it all together. It was Julian, she finally confessed, voice cracking. He gave me that letter. He said he found it in my study, said you were deceiving me. He told me you'd changed, that you weren't fit to marry into the Lynn family. Her eyes brimmed with regret. I was jealous. I was scared of losing you. I let it blind me. I stood still, the rain running down my face. So that's your excuse? You humiliated me in front of everyone. Because you were jealous? I regretted it the very next day, she cried. I drank all night. When I sobered up, I wanted to apologize, but my pride wouldn't let me. I kept waiting for you, like always, to come find me, to fix things. But you never did. You just vanished. Her voice turned desperate, wild. I hated you for it, but I missed you even more. Julian meant nothing to me. I was only trying to make you jealous. Nothing happened between us. My heart, it always belonged to you. I looked at her, drenched, trembling, sobbing, and felt nothing but distance. Whatever we once had already died in the storm 5 years ago. She broke down completely, falling to her knees, clutching my legs. Leonardo, I'm sorry, she sobbed. Please forgive me. I'll end things with Julian. I'll ruin him if I have to. Just come back to me. I gently pushed her hands away. Rain poured down my face as I spoke, calm and final. It's too late, Katarina. My life has already turned the page. Her tears stopped midstream, replaced by shock, by a hollow kind of despair. I'm not saying this to make you suffer, I said softly. I just want justice, for my cousin, and for the boy you destroyed with your mistrust.
Please don't come near me or my family again.
And with that, I walked away. Her scream tore through the night behind me, but I didn't turn back. Later, I heard what became of her. She really did go after Julian, used the Lin family's power to strip him of everything. His career, his name, his pride, gone. But in her obsession with revenge, she destroyed herself too. She started drinking, lost control of her company, her reputation, everything. The Lin family name, once golden, became a cautionary tale. At one point, she even found Fiona, tried to buy her off with money to leave me. Fiona didn't even flinch. She told her coldly, "If you ever disturb my family again, you'll regret it." After that, Katarina disappeared. Years passed. One bright morning, I was walking my daughter to school. The air was fresh, sunlight bouncing off her backpack as she skipped ahead of me. Then, through a cafe window across the street, I saw her. Katarina. She was sitting alone by the window, thinner, older, her once elegant hair now tangled, her eyes empty. She clutched a cup of coffee that had long gone cold, her gaze fixed on me and my little girl. For a moment, I just stood there. Then Fiona's car pulled up beside us. My daughter ran to her mother, laughing. I smiled, opened the door, and we drove away. I didn't look back. Because I didn't need to. The past had already let go of me, but she never learned how to let go of the past. She stepped out with a soft smile, sunlight catching in her hair. Without a word, she slipped naturally into my arms, her fingers lacing through mine as if they belonged there. "Come on," she said gently. "After we drop off Tom, let's go watch a movie." "All right," I replied, smiling back. The three of us walked hand in hand into the golden light, laughter echoing behind us. A quiet, perfect moment. But life, it never lets peace linger for too long. A week later, my phone buzzed with a call from a strange number. City A. I almost ignored it. Almost. Something inside me hesitated. And I answered. "Leonardo," the voice said, familiar yet distant. "This is Uncle Lin." My heart sank. "What is it?" I asked, flat, emotionless. There was a pause. A heavy one. "Leonardo, could we meet?" His voice carried a weariness I hadn't heard before, the kind that only time and regret can carve into someone. At first, I wanted to say no. I wanted no part of the Lin family anymore. But then he said something that made me stop. "I know we wronged you back then," he sighed. "I just want to apologize. In person. An apology. From a man like him. That alone said something was terribly wrong. So I agreed. We met at a quiet tea house near my office, sunlight spilling softly across the room. He was already there, sitting alone. The years had etched themselves into his face, the gray at his temples, the heaviness in his eyes. When he saw me, he stood quickly. "Leonardo, you came." I nodded, taking a seat across from him. "Whatever you have to say, Uncle Lin, say it directly." He froze at my bluntness. Slowly, he poured me tea, his hands trembling. "I know you must resent me," he murmured. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have believed Julian's lies. Shouldn't have said those things that hurt you." His voice broke. "I always saw you as my own son. But when it came to Katarina, I let selfishness guide me. I was afraid she'd lose herself in love. I thought Julian was the safer choice. When he looked up, there were tears in his eyes. I was blind, Leonardo. I wronged you. He rose slightly as if to bow, but I didn't move. I watched him quietly, expressionless. There's no need for that, I said, because I could already sense this wasn't just about guilt, and I was right. Katarina! She doesn't have much time left. His voice cracked as he continued. Since she learned the truth, she's been drinking, shutting herself off from everyone. A few days ago, she nearly drank herself to death. The doctors say it's her heart, her mind. She's drowning in regret. She keeps calling your name. I listened, calm, empty. He reached across the table and grabbed my hand, desperate. Please, Leonardo. Please go see her. You're the only one who can save her. I looked at him, this man who once told me I wasn't worthy of his daughter, now begging me to come back and save her. The irony was almost cruel. Gently, I pulled my hand free, one finger at a time. Uncle Lin, I said softly but firmly. First, I'm married now. I have a wife and a child. And I'm happy. I won't betray them for anyone. Second, Katarina's pain isn't my fault. It's the result of her own choices. Her pride, her jealousy, her mistakes. And third, her fate is no longer my concern. I'm not her savior. Not anymore. I stood, leaving him in silence, his tears falling into the untouched tea. Behind me, his voice cracked into a broken cry, but I didn't look back. Because some stories end long before we realize they have, and the Lin family's tragedy was written the moment they chose power over love. As for me, I had already found my own rebirth.